Hi, my name is Valerie Kennedy, and I recently joined First Baptist in Belton. I was baptized just a few weeks ago. Super excited, and I 100% know that this was the right decision for me because this was not by accident. I was led here. So I was born and raised in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, Roll Tide. I am a mom of three and Gigi of three. So growing up in my household, there's so many words to describe it. I think the best word for me is chaotic. My father was an alcoholic. He was sober the last 16 years of his life. My mother, she's still alive, but she was an alcoholic. My earliest memories of growing up with my parents, they would line us up, oldest to youngest, so I was always last. And before we could go to bed at night, we had to take a shot of Old Forester. Some of you may not know what that is. Well, it's like 80 proof whiskey. So imagine a 3, 4, 5-year-old having to take a shot of 80 proof whiskey. I will tell you, to this day, I still remember the burn in my throat because of my parents' addictions. I was placed in really horrible circumstances. I was molested by a family member for years, and I was raped when I was 12. I ended up getting pregnant at 18, my senior year of high school. She was born a couple of months before I graduated high school. This kid changed my life in ways I couldn't have imagined. They put her in my arms, and there was something about holding this sweet, innocent kid who didn't ask to be here. She didn't ask for this to be the family she was born into. And I just knew I didn't want her to live the life that I led. I think I'm almost going crazy. I hear this voice. It's like, God. And I thought, that can't be right. So I'm like, no, that's not it. Let's keep thinking about it. Right? We're going to change this kid's life. We don't know how. So I got out the phone book and I thought I would just literally attend every church in my town. Right? And that's literally what I did. And so these two Mormon missionaries come knocking at my door, and the video, I still have that tape, by the way, was called Family First. And in this video, it showed all these families and all these families bearing their testimonies of God and how, following the path of Jesus Christ, how it had enriched their lives. And I saw these families and these kids were happy, and this must be it, right? Like, this must be it. This was the first church truly that I had attended where people came up to me and were like, hi, how are you? You look familiar. We've never met you. And it just felt like a family almost. And I remember telling one of the moms, I'm like, I feel like a fraud. I said, I don't feel worthy enough to be your friend or worthy enough to be in your presence because of all that I had done. She reminded me of something that I'd been told by the missionaries, but I was worthy because Jesus said I was worthy. She's like, the only person that thinks you're not worthy is you. Let me tell you, my family, I love them, but they are brutal. From the day I got baptized, I was teased mercilessly. And really teased is a nice word because I don't think it was more bullying. Fast forward, my children grew up in the church, and my dad had survived cancer, and it came back 16 years later, and he was given a year to live. I went home because he was put in hospice care. But the great thing about that is my dad and I were able to have so many conversations that we never had. I will never forget, and this was one of his good days, and we were sitting on the back porch, and he told me that he knew he gave me a hard time for becoming a Christian, but he said that was one of his greatest treasures in life because he got to see his grandchildren being raised differently. sorry. And he apologized for all the hard times that he gave me, for all the things that he said, because he said that he could see a difference. Maybe because he knew his time was coming to an end, but I was so grateful to hear him say those words. There was still that need, I guess, in me, even though I was an adult, to have that support of my dad. And I will treasure that. I mean, I'll treasure all the conversations we had, but that one the most. Now, I know some of you may be thinking, but wait, you joined the LDS church. How are you here? Unfortunately, I ultimately left because of racism. 34 years I've been a member, and I had never experienced racism in the church until I did. And so I don't, people are like, are you angry at the church? No, I'm not angry at the church. They didn't kill my testimony because I knew these were people. This was not God. These were people. And so I did not get out a phone book this time. I was talking to Susie Merritt, and we were talking. I'm like, hey, I said, I'm looking for a church with a strong youth program because I have grandchildren. That was my thing. I'm like, my children were raised in the church, and it was very important for my grandchildren to be raised in the church. And well, yeah, I go to church as a matter of fact. And so she invited me, and it was like it was 1992 all over again, sitting in the congregation and, listening to Pastor Logan preach the word that, there's nothing that you can do. There's no place that you can go too far that you can't come back. And I need that because I know that, but sometimes that little girl in me from Tuscaloosa, Alabama needs to be reminded of that. I need to be reminded that it's okay when you fail. I know that I had to be in a place, so God had to let me go through this so that when I got here, I would know. And so I'm grateful for that, right? Am I grateful for the hurt that I felt and the pains that I've endured? In a way, yeah. Because honestly, those are the things that made me who I am today.